The average first-time independent filmmaker completes their first film in about 5 years. Ours took about 6.5 years from start to finish, and I felt like throwing in the towel many, many times.
Welcome to Heart with Anna. I am Anna Jaworski and the host of your program. We are in our 14th season, and we're happy you could join us today. Today's show features Phillip Wolf, and our episode is entitled Silent Cries, Breaking Through CHD Awareness. Phillip Wolf was born in Dallas, Texas. He grew up in Carrollton, Texas. At the age of 10, he received his first Panasonic camcorder, which recorded to VHS tape and made short home movies. He edited his movies in the camera itself since he had no editing software. He created movies with the camera through his high school graduation. On May 17, 1997, Phillip married Patience, and their first child, Jeremiah, was born on March 2, 1999. Jeremiah was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome and survived to 14 and a half months. Jeremiah's loss has inspired Phillip to pen a memoir and a children's book, but he's on the program today to talk to us about his latest big project. Today we'll be talking with Phillip about his documentary, Silent Cries, Breaking Through CHD Awareness. Welcome to Heart with Anna, Phillip.
Thanks, Anna. I appreciate you having me here on the show today.
Oh, I'm so excited for us to talk about this project. I know it has been years in the reckoning. So let's go ahead and start by talking about your title, Silent Cries. What does that mean to you?
Silent Cries, to me, really has a double meaning. The first being something personal to me when my son Jeremiah was born. Mm-hmm. He had to be resuscitated immediately after birth and then ventilated as his lungs were too weak to function on their own due to his heart defect. He was, as you mentioned before, diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Mm-hmm. He was heavily sedated and taken into surgery at about 12 hours old to complete the first of a 3-stage surgical procedure for this heart defect, the first being called the Norwood procedure. Later, he needed a tracheostomy for the remainder of his life. Patience and I never heard him cry.
That's okay. I can't even imagine how difficult that would be to have your son be trached and to really not be able to hear him cry. That's not the way it's supposed to be with a baby.
Right. Later, he needed a tracheostomy, so for the remainder of his life, Patience and I never heard him cry. It was more of heavy airflow that we could hear coming from the ventilator whenever he cried or even sometimes laughed. That's all we heard. Mm-hmm. The second meaning behind Silent Cries goes out to all the families who may be afraid or not ready to share their stories or experiences regarding CHDs and what goes on while taking care of their baby born with a CHD. Mm-hmm. I wanted to help them be that voice to express feelings and emotions to the general population when it comes to caring for a baby with a CHD, whether the child is living in the hospital or they're being cared for at home. And how I feel I'm being that voice for other CHD families is through my talent as a video producer and a writer. Education, awareness are what I believe key factors in getting the word out to those who may have never heard of congenital heart defects, let alone the acronym CHD.
Right. So many acronyms that get thrown around. And I think your decision to honor your son by doing something as amazing as creating a documentary is just remarkable. What made you decide a documentary, though? I mean, you wrote a memoir, you wrote a children's book. Why a documentary?
Based on mine and Patience's experience with Jeremiah, we were left in the dark from the beginning. We had never heard of CHD and didn't know what to expect once Jeremiah was born. We were suddenly making life-changing decisions every minute, every day.
Yeah.
As young new parents, we had no idea where to turn to for help except to the hospital staff. Mm-hmm. Parenthood was coming later for us. We had become nurses, educating ourselves by observing and assisting the hospital staff in the care for Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. And it was 10 years later when technology would finally come around, and unfortunately it was too late for us.
Right.
And Jeremiah had passed because he needed a new heart. But after the grieving process settled, I woke up one day and felt that other families whose child would be touched by CHD needed to be aware of this number one birth defect. I didn't want to see families struggle in the way patients and I did.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said previously, I self-published a memoir in 2002 and went into detail about my experiences. And then one day in 2010, one of my fellow classmates from film school had approached me with the idea of making my story into a movie. To make a long story short, I had done some previous work on other video projects with another classmate. His name was Kevin Johnson. He and I began producing the short film called Silent Cries for pro bono. And this was a 20-minute film. It was focused specifically on one defect, which was hypoplastic left heart syndrome. And at the time, that's the only defect that I knew more about, and that's what I wanted to focus on.
Sure.
So we released the pilot episode, got that finished, and released it to film festivals in 2012, and it was picked up in Los Angeles, and it won first place in the health category.
Oh, wow.
And from there, yeah, and then so we were excited about that.
Sure.
And the whole reason behind that film was just to try to show what we wanted to film as a feature film, which is where this production comes into play. Mm-hmm. Kevin and I began working on the production of this film on a very, very low budget, and we were struggling to fund the project in order to move forward. And it wasn't until 2014 when Nicole Vickery discovered our project on a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, and she contacted us. She wanted to help see the film through because it touched her in some way as well. So Silent Cries, Breaking Through CHD Awareness, began a new phase in pre-production, and we took it through 3 different concepts, several different titles, a lot of sleepless nights.
I can just imagine. Oh, my goodness. A lot of you creative types, and I know Nicole and I have had a number of conversations with David, too, in the wee hours of the morning, because that's how some creative people function well. They're up at midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning. So this has been such a work of passion for you. It sounds like you've had a number of obstacles to overcome, though. What have been the greatest obstacles for you to overcome?
The most challenging obstacle that always held up the production of the film was the lack of funding to advance into full production of the movie. One of the hardest parts of making a feature-length film as an independent filmmaker is film funding. I was once told in film school the average first-time independent filmmaker completes their first film in about 5 years. Ours took about 6.5 years from start to finish. And I felt like throwing in the towel many, many times. Mm-hmm. Producing this film was probably the hardest project I've ever worked on. So many factors go into making a movie that the general audience have no idea half of the things that are involved. It's not just pick up the camera, shoot, edit, and distribute. It's a jigsaw puzzle with several missing pieces you never knew you needed in order to complete the picture.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think you're right. The average person who doesn't know how to make a film has no idea how many people, how much time, how many different jobs there are involved in making that feature turn out the best it can be. And since this is a work from your heart, I know you wanted to make it the best it could be.
We spent so much time and energy and got burned out a lot and frustrated. And I hung in there, and we all did. And here we are today. Our dream has become a reality and about to distribute to the general population.
Texas Heart Institute were offering us a mechanical heart, and he said, "No, Dad, I've had enough. Give it to someone who's worthy."
My father promised me a golden dress to twirl in. He held my hand and asked me where I wanted to go.
Whatever strife or conflict that we experienced in our long career together was always healed by humor.
Heart to Heart with Michael. Please join us every Thursday at noon Eastern as we talk with people from around the world who have experienced those most difficult moments. You are listening to Heart with Anna. If you have a question or comment that you would like addressed on our show, please send an email to Anna Jaworski at anna@hearttoheartwithanna.com. That's anna@hearttoheartwithanna.com. Now, back to Heart with Anna.
Before the break, we were talking with Phillip Wolf about his latest project, Silent Cries, Breaking Through CHD Awareness. Now, I'd like to introduce you to his executive producer and producer, Nicole Vickery, and the co-producer, David Franco, of the documentary. Nicole, you came on Heart to Heart with Anna way back in 2014 to talk to us about the documentary. Welcome back to Heart with Anna, Nicole.
Thanks for having me. I think this is my third visit to your show, and I really appreciate it. It's great to be able to come back now after 5 years, and it's finally come to fruition, and we're looking at 1 month out for release. So
I know.
It's very exciting.
It is so exciting. And welcome, David. As many people know who listen to Heart with Anna, David is a producer of Heart with Anna. So welcome as a guest today, David.
Thanks for letting me join in.
I'm happy to have you here. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to start with Nicole. And Nicole, I know from the last interview that I did with you that Silent Cries has even a different meaning for you. So can you share with my listeners what Silent Cries meant to you?
It was interesting. Once we got to talking about it, I told Phillip that was the perfect name because he never got to hear his son cry. My parents weren't allowed to let me cry the first year to 5 years of my life until I had my real corrective surgery. Then you have other parents who it means something completely different. And I thought, it runs the gamut of congenital heart disease, the family, the community, and I think it's something that everyone can relate to, which is one reason that we kept it. And I was adamant. No, we can't change it. We have to keep that. I thought it was the perfect name that Phillip came up with from the beginning. And that's one reason that I came on board with the project, was that we just clicked so well. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like my head is a summer home. So we collaborated so well, and I saw that name, and I was like, that's it. Yeah, I have to be involved with that.
Wow. That's really exciting that something as simple as a name could have that kind of ability to connect you to a project like this.
Well, especially when I'm in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. He's in Dallas, Texas. We met on Twitter, and all I wanted to do was help him with the Indiegogo, just share it and help raise some money for it while I was waiting my second pulmonary valve replacement. Then we ended up realizing what a great team we made. And the rest is history, as they say.
Wow. Well, it was through you sharing information about the project that I first came to know you. So tell us about some of the other people you have come to know in working on this project.
I have met so many fabulous people. There's no way I can name them all. And if I leave anybody out, it is not intentional. It's called old age. One person in particular, Mark the Fight Shark Miller. I met him. I know you've interviewed him.
I have.
The minute he and I met, even by phone, we clicked immediately. We've been like brother and sister and inseparable ever since. He's been a really big inspiration to me. I know he's a huge CHD advocate. I've met cardiologist Tim Nelson at Mayo Clinic and his HLHS team. We were lucky enough to film Feel the Beat right after they won the prize for regenerative medicine, helping to find a cure for congenital heart disease. And it's really fun when you're interviewing a physician who's an MD, PhD, and they use the word cure to a nearly 50-year-old patient. And you get in their face after the off camera and you say, wait, don't ever use that word in front of me. And he's like, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. It won't help you or anybody in your generation. But because of your generation, we've been able to learn these things. And that and adult congenital heart doctors across the country, globally. I've been to the United Kingdom and met filmmakers working on the same kind of documentaries. It's just been real exciting to see how small the world really is.
Well, and how connected the CHD community is, right? It seems like everybody knows everybody else. Isn't that amazing?
It really is. And if you don't, all you have to do is reach out, and immediately that one thing connects you.
Yeah.
And you're connected for life.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing.
Absolutely. Well, David, tell us how you became involved in this project and why you felt it was important for you to give your time and talent to it.
Nicole got me started in the project. We knew each other from social media. We both had the same surgeons at the same time, at the same hospital. I'm from New York City. She's from Huntsville, Alabama. It was just a weird connection.
You and I met in the early 70s.
Nicole was speaking at a Mended Little Hearts gathering in Dallas. Phillip was filming. So actually, I met Phillip at the same time. But Nicole and I were friends for a year.
Awesome.
Well, and David, honey, nothing is by accident or chance with me. I drug you. I knew the minute we finally met in person that we wanted you involved. And it's been great having you as part of the team. You've been very big help.
Thank you.
We thank you. Both of us do.
Hi, my name is Jamie Alcroft, and I just published my new book, The Tin Man Diaries. It's an amazing story of my sudden change of heart as I went through a heart and liver transplant. I can think of no better way to read The Tin Man Diaries than to cuddle up in your favorite Hearts Unite the Globe sweatshirt and your favorite hot beverage, of course, in your Hearts Unite the Globe mug, both of which are available at the Hug Podcast Network online store, or visit heartsunitetheglobe.org.
Heart to Heart with Anna is a presentation of Hearts Unite the Globe and is part of the Hug Podcast Network. Hearts Unite the Globe is a non-profit organization devoted to providing resources to the congenital heart defect community to uplift, empower, and enrich the lives of our community members. If you would like access to free resources pertaining to the CHD community, please visit our website at www.congenitalheartdefects.com for information about CHD, the hospitals that treat children with CHD, summer camps for CHD survivors, and much, much more.
Anna Jaworski has written several books to empower the congenital heart defect, or CHD community. These books can be found at Amazon.com or at her website, www.babyheartspress.com. Her bestseller is The Heart of a Mother, an anthology of stories written by women for women in the CHD community. Anna's other books, My Brother Needs an Operation, The Heart of a Father, and Hypoplastic Left Heart Syndrome, a handbook for parents, will help you understand that you are not alone. Visit babyheartspress.com to find out more.
Phillip, I am so excited to meet your team, and I know your team is much bigger than just the three of you, but I'm so excited that all three of you could come on the program today. Tell us, when are we going to be able to see this documentary?
Sure. Silent Cries, Breaking Through CHD Awareness is currently being distributed through Amazon Prime Video. It'll be available to rent digitally and purchase as a download beginning August the 6th, 2019, within the United States and United Kingdom territories. Viewers will be able to watch the film on smart TVs, Fire TV, phones, tablets, game consoles, and even on the web. It'll also be available in closed captions. We're currently in the process of formatting the film to be distributed in Germany and Japan through Amazon Prime Video as well. And we are planning on August 6th as well for that release in those territories.
Will it have subtitles in those other languages, or will it only be for people who know English in those countries?
It's available in closed captions, which means it'll be subtitled with those captions, that particular language. In the United States and the United Kingdom, it will be closed captions in English.
Right, but you were saying it's going to be available in Germany, and did you say Japan?
Japan, correct. And we're working on closed captioning for that process as well.
Wow, that's quite an endeavor.
The film has also been entered into several different film festivals, and depending on the results of those entries, other distributors could see it and negotiate with us additional distribution rights for the film other than just Amazon Prime.
Wow, that's great. Okay, Nicole, why don't you tell us why this film has been important to you and why you have stuck with it for all these years?
Oh, wow. There's a litany of answers to that. One of my main passions is congenital heart disease or defect advocacy. And I want the world to know exactly what the acronym CHD stands for, which is congenital heart defect. Some will say congenital heart disease. As a 50-year-old patient, it was really nerve-wracking to me to see so much knowledge that hasn't been gained throughout all of these years. It's like we got stuck on the back burner. They figured out how to, quote-unquote, fix us, which really isn't the case. You're lucky if you live to 18. And we're at the place now that folks my age group, they're like, what are you belly aching about? You made it to 50. You should be glad. We're working on kids. So it was really important to me. I didn't think that it was right for anybody to learn what the term CHD meant while they were celebrating the birth of their first, second, 20th child. Secondly, that it needed to be mainstream, just like the Susan G. Komen Foundation and St. Jude. We need the research funds. We need people to know that we exist. We have over 1.5 million adults living with this alone. Statistically, the 1 in 100 isn't correct because it doesn't account aborted babies or people that don't find out until later in life, which is quite common.
Right.
So
right.
It was very, very important to me to use this in every medium that we've worked on, our children's books and other things, to educate, advocate, create media that could do these things and teach people about congenital heart disease, because it's just been far too long that we've just kind of been sitting here saying, hello, we're here, we know each other as a community. And I wanted to bring the community together because a huge community speaking with one loud voice and speaking from the same script is a lot more effective than the divisiveness that we see within our own community. And so I was hoping that this documentary would be a springboard to bringing everyone together. And let's get those numbers correct before we start saying them. And let's get out there and speak it up and raise the money that we can.
Great, great. All of that makes a lot of sense. And yes, we've talked before on this program about how the 1 in 100 is just a little bit of the people born with congenital heart defects, because that doesn't include the people with bicuspid aortic valve or a lot of the other problems. It just doesn't get counted in that statistic. So you're right. It is greater than 1 in 100, and yet we don't have the awareness that we need. David, why don't you tell us who you think needs to see this film and why?
Everyone. I think anyone who sees the film will be surprised, as much as I've been surprised in what I see from before and after. Not just the work that has gone in by the players, but by how I've changed since the making of the film, and how this is really a great way to communicate the CHD message.
Nicole, who do you think should see this film and why?
I tend to agree with David. First, of course, anybody that has any relationship to the congenital heart defect disease community needs to see this film to educate themselves. But then it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a grandmother or if you're a mother, if you're a teenager, anybody that can learn and educate themselves about this particular defect that has gone silent for so long. And that's another Silent Cries reference. We're screaming and nobody hears us. Mm-hmm. And I think that there isn't a person on the face of this planet that does not need to see this movie. I think we'll be petitioning for Australia, because I've met patients down there for whom I've advocated. And I think that they didn't know until their nephew. Well, it's a nephew, most people would say. But no, I say it doesn't matter. You need to know that this is a huge problem that needs addressing, not only in research funding, but just to help people who can't afford all the surgeries that are involved. Yeah. And that it's a lifelong battle from day one until I'm almost 50. I'm still fighting. David's still fighting. Phillip is still fighting because he's lost a son. And I can relate to that, having lost a child, not to CHD, but just it's a constant battle and struggle every single day that we get up and put our 2 feet on the floor. We choose to live. Most people don't understand that, and I think that's what this film will bring about.
Absolutely. I agree. Phillip, let's end this program with you telling us one more time where people can find your documentary, when it's available, and then I'd like you to tell us what's next.
Sure. Silent Cries Breaking Through CHD Awareness is currently being distributed through Amazon Prime Video beginning August the 6th of this year. And what's next really all depends on the success of the film. We've been brainstorming ways we could educate and bring more awareness to CHDs with spin-offs from the film consisting of shorter 20 to 30-minute episodes, each focused on a particular defect until we can cover all known CHDs. And our concept is like the superhero movies that come together within their own universe, such as the DC and Marvel universe, except we'd call ours the Silent Cries universe.
Ah.
So another CHD Aware book is also in the works. Well, I want to continue my son's legacy through a trilogy. And the first, as you know, is a storybook, picture book for children called Jeremiah the CHD Aware Bear and Friends. And the next chapter will be a chapter book targeting preteens. And the third book would continue the story with Jeremiah all grown up as a novel for adults. And this has all been an experience producing a feature-length documentary regarding CHDs, and I'm excited to see how the public responds. And my team and I continued to educate ourselves about CHDs throughout the making of the film. And yes, we had a lot of setbacks, sleepless nights, frustration, and blood, sweat, and tears poured into this project, but in the end, it was all worth it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Phillip Wolf, Nicole Vickery, and David Franco, for coming on the program today and talking to us about your experience in creating this very special documentary to raise awareness of congenital heart defects.
It was great speaking with you, Anna, today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Phillip. Nicole, thank you so much. It was good having you on the program again.
Thank you for having us. Everyone can check out our Facebook page and our website. We are starting a huge publicity push starting July 5th, and with the film being released a month later on August 6th. Every Friday they can check out our website, our Facebook page for videos or games, things related to the movie. And we want people to engage and share and have as great a response as we have had support over the years.
Now, what is the name of your Facebook page, Nicole?
Silent Cries Productions.
Silent Cries Productions. You've heard it, friends. This is how you can find out even more information, and we'll have a link to their website on our page on heartsunitetheglobe.org. I'm sure you'll have more information on your website as well, right, Phillip?
Yeah, I'll send out mine. It's Wolf Entertainment or Phillip Wolf Films, which is pwfilms.net.
Great.
That covers both.
Great. Thanks, David, for being on the program, this time as a guest. I know you'd prefer to be behind the scenes, but I appreciate you coming on and talking with us today.
Thanks for letting me join in. And it's great to talk to you too, Nicole and Phillip.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks,
it's been so much fun talking with so many creative people. That does conclude this episode of Heart to Heart with Anna. Thanks for listening today. Please check out our Patreon page. We'd love for you to become a patron of our program. Check out our HUG Podcast Network page or our website to see how you can be part of our network, get behind-the-scenes information, be invited to special recordings, and have Q&As with our guests, and even more. Go to heartsunitetheglobe.org for more information. That's all for today. Please remember, my friends, you are not alone.
Thank you again for joining us this week. We hope you have been inspired and empowered to become an advocate for the congenital heart defect community. Heart to Heart with Anna, with your host Anna Jaworski, can be heard every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time.